here Matthew Dodson? All right. And where's Mr. Dodson?
He is in the middle of the box.
All right.
Excuse me, Attorney. So,
Mr. Woodard, it's been a while since I've seen you.
well, since I've been here, Judge,
Are you hiding out from the
No.
187th or just hiding out from me?
not at all. Not at all.
All right, court is calling 2020 CR 10474B, State of Texas versus Matthew Dodson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
David Andre Woodard for Mr. Dodson.
Are you Matthew Dodson?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. And First Amendment motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Matthew Dodson who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 10474B for the offense of aggravated kidnapping on September 8, 2021 for a period of 10 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor, violating condition number 1, on or about the 11th day of October 2023 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Matthew Dodson committed the offense of evade, arrest, or detention in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
We'll waive the remaining violated convictions.
Any objections to the waivers?
No objections, Judge.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 1, court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
No, there's not.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
State's requesting revocation. We're taking into consideration cause number 719241, evading arrest and detention.
All right, defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, we're asking the court to follow probation's recommendation. It appears probation still wants to work with Mr. Dodson. They're recommending that he attend the local ISF, followed by ISP placement for full 12 months. I've talked to Mr. Dodson about that. He is in agreement with it if the court would consider allowing him to go into local ISF. He realized there's some issues that he still needs to deal with to make him successful while on probation. So we're asking the court to deny the motion to adjudicate and alternate amendment conditions for local ISF.
What's his criminal history? Because I don't have the report that contains that.
Judge here in Bexar County, looks like he has. This has this evading arrest, this act kidnapping, and he had a theft that wasn't indicted back in 2017.
All right, this is not his first motion to revoke, is that correct?
It's not, Judge. From my understanding, it's possibly his second. I know I represented him on the first motion to revoke.
Mhm.
And in that motion to revoke, we had an agreement with the prosecution. There was a visiting judge present at the time.
Yes.
He was revoked and given 10 years, and we filed a motion to reconsider. This court placed him back on deferred, and now we're in front of the court again this morning.
All right. So I don't know if your client wants to address the issue. Why should I continue him when, as you stated before, another judge had revoked him, sentenced him to 10 years? And I'm assuming the reason why I went back and continued him on deferred is because the state and the defense came to the court and said, hey, we had an agreement. We were not expecting the 10 years in the prison. It appears that maybe if he would have been given the 10 years of prison, we would not have this evading. So I don't understand why I should continue him, because in the first place, he's on deferred for a first-degree felony, which is aggravated kidnapping. And then he picks up an evading arrest. I don't understand why I should continue him. Here's that he has done nothing. What has he done on probation?
I believe in speaking with Mr. Dodson, Judge, he was employed. I don't know if the court wishes to inquire and ask him about that employment, but he was employed while he was on probation.
All right, you want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Matthew Dodson.
All right, what have you done since you've been on probation?
I have worked the entire time. The first month I got off, and when I got out, I did not work. I admitted to my probation that I had messed up because when I got out, I didn't have everything set up like it was supposed to. Like I wasn't a place that I had a living situation was out of the question because my brother he just got out. He's a felon. I couldn't stay at my mom's. That was one of the places I was supposed to stay. My job, I did not have no transportation to get to my job that I got out with, but a month right after that, literally.
Wait a minute, what's wrong with a via bus? I don't understand why
Because
people,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't understand why people have an issue with via bus. I rode the via bus,
I had no problem riding the via bus, ma'am. It was
which is
literally-
great for defense attorneys. I was a new defense attorney. I rode the via bus. I picked up many a client while I was on the via bus. So
I
continue.
literally had no problem with the via bus, ma'am. Like I said, I didn't have no place to stay right when I got out. Literally, I was trying my best. So I took it upon myself to go back to where I was living at, which wasn't a good idea. That's when I told my probation officer that, hey, look, I admit it. I used, and it wasn't good. It wasn't gonna come out clean. Literally a week after that, you came up in my head, really, to be honest. You came in my head because I heard, say, if you wanna continue this, you're gonna go to prison if you continue this, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay. I stopped using, I started working right after that, and I've been working ever since then, day and night. Got a place to stay with my boss. He has an apartment there. He got a place to stay, and I've been working ever since then. And my probation officer called me and told me, hey, if I get the courts to throw away the warrant, can you come in and sign a paper? Yes, sir. I gave him my address. I gave him the place where I worked. He knew where I was working at. The evading arrest, ma'am, literally when the cops came, I was fighting with one of my spouses, and I went to go grab
Wait a minute, what do you mean you were fighting with one of your spouses? How many spouses do you
I
have?
have just one, but what I'm saying, my bad, I apologize. I was fighting with my spouse. And I went to go grab my backpack from the backyard, literally jogged, and the officer told me to stop freezing. I did, and I went to the ground. I didn't run. I didn't do any of that.
Well, I mean, you just pled true to
I know,
evading.
I understand, but what I'm saying, when I jogged to the backyard to grab, so I went to go to jail with my property and I wasn't able to. I'm just giving you the honest truth of what happened. So
So,
when they gave me, I know I just pled to,
no. So you're telling me in a roundabout way that you have done nothing on probation except have employment.
yes, ma'am.
And
I
honestly,
stopped doing
employment
drugs,
Is
literally,
what everybody else has.
right.
And you say you stopped doing drugs, and I'm not considering it, counsel, but we have a lot of positive tests in here, allegedly. Probation, what are you asking for on Mr. Dodson?
So in reviewing, it looks like the officer is asking for Mr. Dodson to attend local ISF followed by ISP placement for full 12 months. Bi-weekly UAs for 60 days, weekly sober support meetings, GPS held in abeyance, and a drug offender education program.
All right, here are your choices. I was sentenced to the prison for the 6 years, or either you're not going to ISF, you will be going to safety. Those are your choices. And when you are released from safety, you're going to be on GPS. And if you come back here again, if you choose to go to safety and be on full GPS, when you come back here again, if you come back for a motion to revoke, you'll be looking at the full range of punishment. You know yourself better than I know you, better than the attorney, better than the probation knows you. But what I'm telling you is, if you come back here for a motion to revoke, the full range of punishment is available to the court, up to 99 years or life. And the state may be asking for such. So you can either do 6 years, you do your 6 years, you will be done. You will no longer be on probation. They will release you when they release you. Because of the nature of the offense, you'll have to do half your time before you are released, which would be 3 calendar years before you're released. You'll get credit for any time that you've been in custody towards those 3 years. But either way, you're not leaving the jail for some time soon, for any time soon, excuse me.
Safe plea.
All right. I'll deny the motion. Alter and amend conditions to include safety. And there's to be full GPS upon release from safety. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And probation, once he's released from safety, if you all want to approach the court about the full GPS and making it partial for work or partial for him to complete the aftercare, let the court know. All right, is there anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're off the record, Mr. Dodson. From here on out, everything you do, you need to ask yourself whether this could result in you going to prison, for potentially life. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you. Just one moment. All right, where are we on Mr. Lopez?
Judge, first setting, got discovery acknowledgements entered. We have discovery that the state has made an offer.
All right, and then with the discovery acknowledgement, he actually has 3 cases. So I don't have the discovery on 9778.
Is that the family violence case, Judge?
It's an injury to the elderly.
It is family violence case.
Family violence. Could you prepare an acknowledgement of discovery on 2023 CR 9778?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and state, were you able to tender an offer?
Yes, Judge.
How old are you, sir?
I'll be 40.
All right, if you could reset this for 1 month for a plea deadline date, please. All right, we'll be back on December 18th.
Is that a Thursday before the Friday? It's a Monday?
Yes.
I gotta figure out what my travel schedule is gonna be. I think it'll be okay, but I'll let the court know. My wife is planning a vacation around that time.
Oh, hey, does your wife want you on the vacation?
I'm planning for it. No, she's got the credit card, so I don't.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we'll recall you back on December 18th. Mr. Cherrick, if you think it's interfering with your vacation, let us know and we'll put it sooner.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Ready, Your Honor.
All right, the court is, thank you. Court is calling 2022 CR 1156, State of Texas versus Isaiah Gibson. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state
Jason Garrett, hand, Your Honor.
defense?
James Seeloff for the defendant, Your Honor.
Are you Isaiah Gibson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, probation, this is an application.
Thank you.
Counsel,
Deferred. And it's, we're asking the court to waive PSI. The state recommends.
all right, just a second.
Okay.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, I have.
All right. Mr. Gibson, I'm showing you what's entitled application for community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, counsel, you said this was an application for deferred as well?
This is a deferred adjudication recommended by the state, part of the plea bargain. I just wanted to let you know.
All right, thank you. I see where you hand wrote that. All
Because
right.
you don't have a phone.
We
for
need an
deferred.
application for deferred
Or don't
adjudication.
you grant deferred? Is that why you don't have?
All right, they're printing some more. Oh, no, you can just ask other people in the courtroom. Yes, we We give deferreds in this courtroom. All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waive.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented
Yes, you are, Your Honor.
on both counts? Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't say.
We're gonna go on count one, Judge. I'm assuming that's what defense counsel was out.
We talked about it.
All right. Any objection to the waiver of count two?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Gibson, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense in count one of theft of a vehicle, $30,000 to $150,000
Yes, ma'am.
as a third degree felony?
Yes, ma'am.
Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you're giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, he has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent, was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe he is.
Mr. Gibson, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, there's a $500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's to be restitution, if any, to Home Depot located at 5638 West Loop 1604, San Antonio 78251. There is to be cats 1 and 2, and there's to be, well, the court will probably order no contact with Home Depot. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense is at the plea?
That's our plea.
State is at the plea.
It is, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
This is it. If she follows the plea bargain, you can appeal.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes,
We'll
yes,
go
ma'am.
over that.
All right, counsel, have there been any such motions?
No.
Showing you outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 8 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation and no contact with the Home Depot at 5638 West Loop 1604. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
To count one, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State Exhibit number 1 with office attachments.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. Part of the plea bargain is they're going to dismiss a misdemeanor case. I don't know if the court read off the number, but there
It's
is
not
a
in here.
It's a dismissal, and I believe prosecutor is going to give it to you.
All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Am I right?
Yes, it's just not on the plea bargain agreement, so the judge will not know about it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. All right, state, you may continue to confer.
Thank you. Judge.
Going to show you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses? There'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so why are you taking what does not belong to you?
I was homeless and it was an opportunity for me to get some money, a payment, and I just didn't know what to do at the time. And I'm just owning up to my mistakes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
26.
All right, being homeless doesn't give you the excuse or a pass to commit crimes. Because if that's the case, then everybody can be homeless and everybody who's homeless can say, oh yeah, I robbed a bank, I'm homeless. And I'm admitting that I robbed a bank. Excuse me and forgive me because I'm homeless. That's not an excuse to commit crime. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There are laws. So do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
I have a 7-year-old, 1-year-old, and I have kids on the way.
So you have children on the way?
Yes, ma'am.
Perhaps twins.
All right. And how long have you been homeless?
That was back in 2020. I'm no longer homeless anymore.
Why would you, and this is just a question that I want answered because I'm always curious. And I think if you're in the legal field, you need to be curious. Why would you continue to have children when you're not stable? For example, you have a 7-year-old, a 1-year-old, and now you say you have children on the way. Why would you bring other children into this world and do activities that will result in children being brought in this world and you don't even have your life together?
That's just my mistake, Your Honor.
No, I mean, it's not a mistake. Those are choices. People choose to do whatever activities they do. So I'm trying to figure out why people keep doing activities or not being responsible in the activities that they do and bringing children in this world that they're not prepared to raise. Do you understand that taxpayers are tired of taking care of other people's children?
Yes, ma'am.
So these children that you're about to have, if you do daycare and you're getting, you don't have to pay the full price of daycare. You know why you don't? Because taxpayers are paying for it, not you. If you get housing and you're really supposed to be paying $2,500 a month and you're really paying $34 a month, you know who's picking up that tab? Taxpayers. Taxpayers are tired of doing that. And you're old enough to know better and you're old enough to know where children come from. So why would you be irresponsible, make a choice to have these children and you're not taking care of them?
Well, I am taking care of my 1-year-old son I have now. And that was like 2 or 3 years ago when I wasn't with my other mother of my child.
So how many mothers of children do you have?
It's just 2.
All right. So while you're out there homeless, who was paying for your child to eat? Think about that. Because a 7-year-old, a 1-year-old, you can't just put them at Travis Park and say, well, I've helped create you, go forth, hunt for yourself. So when you're homeless and when you're saying, I can't get my life together, who is providing diapers for your children? Because I know people don't do cotton anymore because people think that's beneath them. But when you can't afford the Pampers or whatever, you should go back to cotton. So when you're homeless and not doing anything, who's supporting your children? Because it wasn't you.
At the time, it was the mother of my child. You know?
Yeah. And so when you have children, you can't fall down on your job because they can't financially support themselves. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, since this has happened, he has been employed and he assures me that he's employable once he's released.
All right. And why were you homeless?
Well, I just didn't want to go back home and I couldn't find a good job because I lost my ID and I just couldn't find the money to go get a new ID.
So you'd rather be homeless than go back home?
No, my mom wasn't allowing me to go back home.
All right. And how old were you?
I was 23 at the time.
All right. Is your mom a good mom?
Yes, ma'am.
So she probably wasn't allowing you to go back home because you don't want to follow her rules. And I always tell people, when you go back home to live with your mom, you're not an adult because you're not paying for the roof that's over your head and you're not paying for food. And I'm sure your mom probably was saying, I'm not going to have a grown man just living at my house doing nothing. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated high school.
And what are you planning on doing with the rest of your life?
I was planning on getting my CDL and driving trucks because I have a cousin who has his own trucking company and I wanted to drive trucks with him.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. There's a $500 fine that will be probated. There's restitution to Home Depot, if any. And that's the Home Depot located at 578251. And there's to be no contact with Home Depot. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular UAs. 200 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once he completes parenting classes, the court will allow him 50 hours to be subtracted from the 200 hours. And I'm going to order that you're in some type of trade school. So if you want to get your CDL license, you can. Once that is done, then the remaining of the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Field visits. One time per month until further notice.
Thank
They want
you.
you, well, they want you to do cats 1 and 2. You have all these children that you need to take care of and hopefully you can spend some time with. Here's my cats 1 and 2. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. If you rent a vehicle or rent property, you need to return it when it says it's due in the contract. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
I would like to get a new ID, but I still have to renew my license as well.
All right, so you'll have to do that. If you tell probation about that, they'll give you the steps that you need in order to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I can tell you, I've recently had my license renewed, and guess what? You got to make an appointment. And they're going to want your birth certificate or either passport. And if you don't have those, they will give you a temporary ID and make you pay the $33 for it. And guess what? It's only good for 2 weeks.
All right, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Do better.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you
welcome.
very much, Your Honor. I appreciate it. May I be excused?
Yes.
Good luck, okay?
Sure.
Good luck with your food.